Excelsior!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of Excelsior. I'm your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined by Jack Martin.
Thank you very much for having me.
We have seen Captain Marvel.
Yes, we did last night.
We had a good experience, I would say.
I would say so.
It was a nice theater.
Yeah, we did the old Cinemark XD.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying beforehand that's basically like IMAX, but just like the different branding. Is it like basically the same?
I think it's like knockoff IMAX.
Okay, knockoff IMAX.
Like if you want to throw down some Chanel versus Walmart meme.
Oh, I see.
I think that might be the situation.
All right, I enjoyed the experience. Big old screen.
I would have liked louder audio, but other than that, good experience.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So you're watching Excelsior, our weekly MCU review / ranking / news / whatever Marvel show. This week we are going to be reviewing Captain Marvel. We're going to give some spoiler-free impressions, go into spoilers. We'll make it clear when we're talking spoilers. But first, if you are new to the program, every week Jack and I play a little game called Cast Me Baby One More Time, where our man on the mixer, Pat Maroney, chooses one of our casting choices that we are adding to a fictional MCU.
Say something, Pat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Pat is
not here.
Pat is sadly only here in spirit. He's out on another assignment this week. So we're going to make our little choice.
Okay.
Jack is going to pick a character out of this crayon box. We are going to each have a minute to cast this character. We don't know who it is. And next week, Pat will choose one of our choices to play this character in a future MCU role. These characters could be characters that Marvel owns the rights to, they haven't used yet, characters that are going to be acquired by Fox, or any other characters from Marvel. So who are we casting this week?
Octavius. Now, do you mean Dr. Otto Octavius?
Otto Octavius.
Okay. Interesting.
Would you like to go first?
I don't know if let's consult the list here that I have.
Okay, because I know I swear I had somebody for this.
Yeah.
I forget who it is.
Okay. I might
If you want me to go, I'll go.
Yeah, do you want to go?
I'll just pull someone out.
Okay.
So for this week's Cast Me Baby One More Time, starting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Doc Ock has to be a role model. Doc Ock has to be a figure that commands a presence. He has to be someone that Peter can look up to. He has to be someone who is he looks like he's a scholar, you know? But he has to still have a threatening persona to him. So I am going to say that Doc Ock should be played by no one else other than Danny DeVito.
Oh my God.
Danny DeVito, he's got the look. He can pull off some intimidation. You ever see that Batman Returns?
I sure did. Did.
He was the Penguin. He had some pretty solid lines. Danny DeVito has a comedic element to him. I think despite his appearance, he carries some seasoning to himself. He has a seasoned soul. He's a wise man.
Yeah.
I think Peter could look up to someone like Danny DeVito, and I feel like using Danny DeVito as a role model would be beneficial in the MCU.
Fascinating.
That I think I ran a couple seconds over.
No, that's all.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
That is fascinating. I think that's a good one. I think he'd look good with a bunch of tentacles on him. If I do say so myself.
All right.
My choice for this particular character, you're right on the whole he has to be intimidating look and somewhat scholarly, and I think this man can definitely pull off the intimidating look, and we'll see what he can do with the scholarly look. But I think this man is going into the acting field and needs more roles. It's John Cena. We all know and love John Cena. Shave the head. He looks like a scholarly man. Put some glasses on him. Sure. Intimidating? You betcha. John Cena is definitely going to be in the MCU at one point or another, I suspect, because he's a nice buffed man. And why should we waste his body not being in the MCU? That's what I say. I think Doc Ock would be an interesting role for him. He hasn't really acted all too much. He was in the Bumblebee movie recently. I never saw it, but he was a villain in that, so he could be a villain in this, I say. And yeah, why not Doc Ock?
All right.
Let's see him stretch his wings here.
So full transparency, I was stalling as long as I could to try and remember who I had for Doc Ock because I had a perfect choice. But needless, I don't know who it is.
Oh, no.
Danny DeVito was the first one I thought of. I was like, I guess I got to make a case. So next week will be interesting. So that does Cast Me Baby one more time. We're not doing news this week. We're just going to go straight into some impressions for Captain Marvel from last night. I want to start off very basic. What did you think overall? Did you enjoy yourself? Were your expectations met? Do you recommend people to see Captain Marvel?
And this is spoiler-free?
Spoiler-free.
Okay. I did enjoy myself. The reason why, I would say, is because I went in with almost no expectations because I don't know this character. I didn't watch really any of the trailers. Probably saw maybe one or two. And I enjoyed myself. It was fun, and I think that's what MCU movies should be. It was a good origin story for a character I don't think many people know about. I for sure don't. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was it. We just watched Doctor Strange last week for our we're catching up and doing the reviews here and there. And I didn't have fun with that movie. And this, I feel like, for me at least, this is like the exact opposite, where this was fun. This was jovial, and this is that kind of spark of Marvel joy that I think is lost in some MCU movies, like Thor: The Dark World, for example. But yeah, this is, for me, I would say, this is like, if I could describe it in terms of its quality, I'd say it's mid-tier Marvel, but that's not a bad thing. I think that's good. Me personally, I think it's mid-tier Marvel. I'd say like it's probably in the top 10, maybe like close outside the top 10. It's probably in the top 10. I don't know.
Yeah, I was very happy leaving Captain Marvel. I think they made some choices with the editing in the first 15 minutes that I was not a huge fan of.
Yeah, you and me both.
But I definitely think it picks up. I think it is a very good ride. There's shades of buddy cop stuff in there.
Oh, yeah.
Very good relationships. I love the cast, the core cast of this film. Brie Larson does a fantastic job. I'm very excited to see her more in the spotlight in the future.
Right.
Similar to what you said, I think it does the origin story in an interesting way. I like that they don't spend too much time on her past. And I enjoy a lot of what this... I like the tone a lot.
I do too.
And I think that is one of the biggest things I was not worried about so much, but I don't think the trailers did this film any justice. From the one or two I saw, because I saw some TV spots. I watched the first trailer. I don't know if I saw much after that. I think I saw the second trailer too.
Right.
But it looked like it was so serious. There was something in the trailer that was like really, at least in the first couple. I know we talked about that TV spot recently, a couple weeks ago, that I loved because it really set her up as a passing of the torch sort of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was very happy with this. I agree with you. I think it is, I definitely think it's in the top 10. I can see a case, we will get to rankings at the end of the episode,
right?
But I can see a case for it maybe hitting top 5.
Yeah. I'd have to think about that one.
Yeah.
But for me, this was, I don't know why, but I connect this movie to Ant-Man and the Wasp. Just a fun ride. Ant-Man and the Wasp is more a movie that like doesn't really even need to exist, but I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
This movie, for Endgame, yeah, it does need to exist. In the greater MCU, not really, but it's fun. I enjoyed it.
I would say it definitely does. Again, this is just like before Phase 4 stuff starts coming out, but I definitely think this is necessary for the future.
Yeah, that's true, because she is, from what Kevin Feige said, like she's basically going to be the leader of the Avengers going forward after Endgame. From what I've heard, I think he said that.
I had a good time. I recommend you see this if you are hesitant about it. But we're not going to go full spoilers yet.
Okay.
So if you don't want to know anything about the movie, then click away. But we got a little bet to settle.
Yes, we do.
So Jack and I made a bet about the music of the film. So again, music. If you don't want to know music, this is your time. So you said in our hypothetical bet.
Yep.
Notice neither of us are wearing white. That was the stakes of this bet.
I could wear white if I took this shirt off.
That's true. You said Backstreet was going to be featured. I said NSYNC.
Yeah.
We were both wrong.
We should have done Nirvana and Green Day.
That would have been also interesting.
Or some sort of Nirvana Pearl Jam connection.
Yeah.
Because Nirvana, well, I mean, there's some bands that were in there that I appreciated.
I will say, I thought the use of "Come as You Are" was very good.
Oh, that was
I liked
awesome.
that when it started. Like it was slowly fading in, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah, when that happens, like you hear it a little bit, and it's like, "Is this?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, it most certainly is."
I really liked it too at the point in time it was used when she's talking to the AI.
Yeah.
Towards the end when she's like sort of struggling with everything.
Right.
And you can probably derive some sort of meaning from the song choice there. But what I loved was a little later on. There's a fight scene set to "Just a Girl" by Gwen Stefani and No Doubt.
Hell yeah.
I almost flipped out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I loved that. That is like maybe in my top 5 MCU fight scenes.
Really?
Not so much as for like the choreography and stuff.
Yeah, that was kind of lacking, I thought.
I do think it was one of the better choreographed fights of the film.
Oh, yeah. Of the film itself, yeah.
Yeah. But the way it was edited to the music, the way it was like culminating in her coming into herself.
Right.
I loved how they used it.
I enjoyed that scene, definitely, especially with the song choice. I don't think this is, not that anyone's making this comparison, but I don't think this is like a Guardians type of soundtrack.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But there are some really cool nods, and you don't really see that too often in the MCU, aside from like Guardians, with like actually licensed music.
Yeah.
Here and there you do, but like we saw that in Doctor Strange with Beyonce, all the single ladies. But no, this is a good use of soundtrack, I thought.
It fit the vibe well.
It definitely did.
It didn't feel intrusive at all.
No, it didn't, and it was very nostalgic too. Because you and I are '90s babies, but we're late '90s babies. But I have a touchdown for that decade. I'm sure you do a little bit too.
Yeah, my sister is 8 years older than me, so she loved Gwen Stefani and No Doubt.
Oh yeah.
So I was rocking out to some of the songs as a kid. So hearing that was awesome.
Definitely.
So yeah, I think we're gonna transition now into full spoilers for the movie. So if that was your little teaser before, this is like full blown. I don't know where we want to start here. I guess let's talk 90s because we're already talking music. So I feel like that's an easy transition into it. The 90s references, I thought were used sparingly but effectively.
I thought so too. That was a complaint people had that it was too much. I don't know if I
didn't
agreed
even
with
pick
that.
up on many.
Yeah. I thought like Blockbuster was fine, and like, obviously like Blockbuster like barely exists anymore.
There's one left in the country. I saw an article about this the other day.
Yeah, there's one left, so they can say that as much as they want, and they did like here and there. So I thought that was fine. I thought it was funny.
I liked the Game Boy and the Radio Shack.
Yeah, the Game Boy.
That was
Radio
funny.
Shack. There was some. There was a Smashing Pumpkins poster. There was a 311 poster when she was on the phone. What else was there? There was a Bush poster. That was a random poster. I don't know. A lot of cool 90s bands. There's a Street Fighter arcade cabinet.
Yeah. I thought it was mostly
cool.
set dressing, and I don't like 90s is very pop culture, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like that's when a lot of crazy big brands were coming out.
Yes, definitely.
So I didn't think it felt out of place. I felt like it was just set dressing for that era.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't bother me at all. In fact, I liked it a lot. So
I did too, yeah.
I appreciated it, for sure.
Also, one of the better jokes in the movie was the dial-up internet.
Oh, yeah.
That was really good.
But they were all like seriously like doing this the classic superhero stare at a screen and watch
like
something
so intense.
happen. It's like, what's happening?
I love how like the people from Earth play it so straight because that's what they're used to.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was very good.
It's loading.
So, how about we just start from the beginning?
Yeah,
of the
let's
film
do it.
So the beginning is where most of my issues lie.
I think I agree with you on that.
I like Brie Larson in this role a lot. I loved her like on-screen persona. I loved her chemistry with her surrounding cast.
Yep.
There was something about the first, like I said, 15 minutes or so, where they're on Hala, that is the Kree homeworld, where I don't know if it was a choice of the way it was edited or how they set everything up, but something about it wasn't vibing with me.
I agree. I wasn't really hooked into it all too much. I thought the setting was cool. It reminded me of the Citadel when she looked outside her window from Mass Effect. I thought it was a cool nod, maybe not intentionally, but that's at least what I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, her rapport with I don't know Jude Law's name in that. Do you know? Some weird alien name.
Yong Ra or something like that. There's something with a Y.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Like wasn't nothing special. Me personally, I like Brie Larson in this role. I don't think she was like a particular standout. Like if I compared her to the rest of the Avengers, I think she's good. I don't think she's like incredible or anything. Like I don't know if she's the only person who could ever play this role. You know, like obviously she's. I don't think she's like a Robert Downey Jr. where he can only play Iron Man.
I do appreciate the dry humor and sarcasm she brought to it, though.
Yes, I appreciated that too. I thought she did well in this.
Like I think she definitely made it her own based on what I know of Captain Marvel, which is very little. I liked the presence and what she brought in of herself.
Yeah. I think you and I both agreed on this. We really didn't start getting invested until they went to Earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which we will definitely get into. Yeah, but as far as the whole Kree setup goes and that raid on the like rescue mission,
yeah,
I get that they were trying to get her to a point where she is stranded on Earth. I feel like they made some really weird choices with editing.
Yeah.
That is the thing that I'm hung up on the most, because we see that she has like really strong delivery with a lot of her one-liners throughout the film, but there's a couple parts like when she's doing her escape where like it hangs too long on a shot, or like some of the action isn't cut the way it is later on.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but everything from the introduction, I liked the training fight with Jude Law's character. I thought that was good.
Yep.
But her going to see the AI and then the rescue mission and then her escaping, just that whole segment felt a little weird. I think it might be because it was also used as a place to skim through her past.
Yeah.
With like the mind reader thing.
That really confused me.
It was very strange.
Yeah, that like in the moment that confused me. Eventually I understood what was happening.
Me too, yeah.
I was like, is she time traveling? Like that's where the editing got me. I was like, is like, oh, so she, and then eventually obviously you pick up like she's human and she eventually went to Kree, but I was like, is she Kree and then go? I don't know. That confused me in the moment, and eventually I came to understood.
Yeah, I think the thing that caught me off guard was I was kind of expecting from I think she passes out and then it transitions into the past. I was expecting we were doing like Man of Steel style, cutting back between modern day and her progression of like escaping, getting to Earth, and her past, like getting closer up to date of when she became powerful. But yeah, they just skimmed through it. Weird choice. Yeah. I didn't hate it, but it did throw me off for the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't hate it either. But it was weird.
It was definitely a choice.
It was definitely a choice. Yeah.
So, but that's really all I have to say that's really negative about it. And it's not even really negative, but that's my biggest apprehension with everything.
Yeah, I have another negative that we could get into, but for right now, yeah, that is kind of my biggest issue.
So we talked Brie Larson.
Yep.
Let's talk Carol Danvers for a bit. I think Carol Danvers is a strong character. I like the way she's been represented because keep in mind, this is the first attempt at Captain Marvel and Carol Danvers.
That's true.
So I think it's more like, obviously you get a gem every once in a while where it's like Robert Downey Jr. first outing as Tony Stark, like iconic.
Yeah.
Chris Evans, I feel like came into it more over time.
For sure.
Same with Chris Hemsworth. So I think for keeping that in mind, Brie Larson's first stab at it, really solid.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I am really excited to see her interact with the rest of the Avengers.
Me too.
I think that is where she will shine. And I think that's where a lot of characters did, especially Doctor Strange. I thought he was a lot better in Infinity War than he was in Doctor Strange.
I know you mentioned that to me.
Yeah. So I'd be interested to see what she's doing.
I also I like her arc because it is very. I saw some complaints about it of her sort of not feeling like she has a character, but I think once you get the introduction of Maria, I believe was her friend from Earth, her family getting back in there, it really like Carol comes through more than the character we've seen so far, because we've seen shades of like her personality with her interaction with Fury, from when she gets to Earth to when she reunites with her best friend.
Yeah, but
seeing her daughter really brings out more of the human aspect, which I appreciated. So I do think she has an arc. I do think her character is there and it's solid.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of people have issues mostly because like she starts off the movie without a backstory and then she develops it over time, which I guess can be jarring. Also, people are haters, so I think that's a large part of it too.
Yeah, if you don't believe us, look at the Rotten Tomato user score. I believe it's a 32 right now.
Ah, yes, very, very deserved. Not at all.
So, while we're still on surface level things,
Yep.
the face tech for de-aging Sam Jackson, insane.
Yeah, that's like the best example of CGI I can think of
Yeah, so
in the MCU.
it was at a point where at first, when I first saw him, I was like, yes, they're doing some trick here.
Mhm.
Honestly, after maybe 2 minutes of him on screen, it felt so natural.
Yeah.
I did not even notice it, and it was just like, oh, this is just Sam Jackson.
Isn't that weird?
It's so strange.
That is so weird. Like, cause
like 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Just 2 years, maybe 3 years ago now, but just 2 years back, maybe. Leia in Rogue One
oof.
and Tarkin in Rogue One,
Yeah.
which I didn't think Tarkin was as
Tarkin was
jarring.
okay. Leia was awful.
Yeah, it was,
I thought.
Leia looked like a cutscene from a game.
Yes, definitely.
But ever since Ant-Man and the Wasp with Michelle Pfeiffer,
Mhm.
when they DH her, I was like, oh, they're onto something here.
Yeah, that was good.
And then in full movie with Nick Fury, Sam Jackson being what, like maybe in his 30s,
Ugh, that was incredible.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
And it was not jarring at all.
I didn't think so at all either. I thought we were going to get some Uncanny Valley. We see some weird motion with him, but I don't know how they did it. Like, Marvel's kind of known for having kind of bad CG here and
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So, I don't know. That was a good surprise.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy with what they did with it. And it's interesting to see what movies they're going to do now based on that, because you can do a lot with that.
I'm really fascinated what they're going to do in the future now,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to imagine, like, they're going to do some crazy stuff with any of the numerous IP they own, you know? And I'm very interested to see where it goes, especially since they had, for probably, I'd say 3/4 of the movie, someone in CG makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Which, good job. You did something very impressive.
Seriously.
Speaking of Fury, the dynamic of Fury and Carol, I loved it.
I think that is the best part of this movie.
It is something that grounds it for sure.
I think Fury was my favorite part of this movie, honestly, because we are used to seeing Fury in a position of extreme power. He's always in control of any room he's in, and in this one, he's just he's not a beat cop, but he's like kind of low level. He has a boss, which like you really kind of never see. I guess a little bit, but in the Avengers and a little bit in Winter Soldier, but in this, he is kind of being controlled, and he is really never in control himself.
Yeah, he's like a team player now.
He's a team player. He has a lot of levity to his character.
Oh, I loved it too.
Which we don't really get. He's very serious in later MCU movies, pretty much in every MCU movie. But yeah, he's kind of cracking jokes and having a good time in this one.
For sure, yeah.
Classic 1990s Samuel L. Jackson, honestly.
Yeah, I was so surprised that he was able to, obviously, I shouldn't have been surprised because it's Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
But being able to recapture that, like, the vibe that he had and, like, the Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, stuff like that was really cool. Also, shout out to Coulson. He wasn't in it as much as I thought he was going to be, but shout out to Coulson.
You could see the shades of him, like, being such a fanboy, like, that he was in Avengers. Like, you can kind of get that. He was like, I don't know, wet behind the ears kind of dude. And I thought that was funny.
The rookie.
Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned Fury's boss.
Yes.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, yes.
He shined in this.
He sure did. And it's the one role that I can think of where he's not the villain.
Yeah. And that is a big thing that I want to talk about. This is going to be a while. So,
yeah, let's do it.
The Skrulls.
Yes.
The Skrulls were painted going into this as the bad dudes. It's like, oh, the Skrulls. Again, I'm vaguely knowledgeable about the Marvel comics.
Yeah, I'm really not.
I know the Skrulls are like Secret Invasion. I know that Skrulls and Super Skrulls are big deals, shapeshifters, big on invasions, big on spying, big on deception.
Sure. Yep.
So, like, in my head, I always assumed they were just the bad guys. The way this movie portrays the Skrulls, the way this movie portrays the Kree, Jude Law, and Carol outside of the whole thing is something that I have not seen, not just in the MCU, but in many other movies like this, I would say almost ever.
See, that's interesting because when they did that twist, I was like, Iron Man 3.
How so?
Well, going into it, you assumed that the Mandarin is like the
Okay,
Mandarin
okay.
himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I assumed with the Skrulls.
Mm-hmm.
From what I heard, and I was like, oh, of course. But it was the bad guy switch.
Okay.
Like Carol's mentor was the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I mean it's not one for one, but it's like sort of similar.
Yeah. Okay.
That's at least what I thought.
I see where you're coming from.
But I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think the thing that made me so interested in it was the fact that I never felt like Jude Law's character was painted as a villain.
That's true.
Because Carol had as much blood on her hands that he did.
Yeah.
He had worse intentions, and she saw what she was doing was wrong.
Right.
But being able to observe both sides of the conflict, and the movie does address this a lot. Like, Ben Mendelsohn's character from the Skrulls is like, I've done some terrible things. It's war.
Yeah. That's a great line, I thought.
Me too. I really liked that, and I think that really put a good light on his character and the future of the Skrulls, honestly. But yeah, I appreciated that this movie was less about destroying your enemy as it was about just stopping conflict.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it was very refreshing. And yeah, so like Ronan's here, right?
Yes.
And
that was weird, I thought.
it was. I like that he has a little more context now. Because Ronan first shows up as far as release order in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And in Guardians of the Galaxy, we know he's a extremist, religious fanatic, Kree warlord, pretty much.
Right.
That split off from the Kree Empire after the Kree and presumably many other races in the galaxy signed a peace treaty. And Ronan did not like that peace treaty because he thinks the Kree are so much better than everybody else. And he has so much pride for his race. So seeing him in this and seeing him as the actual, the accuser, like earning the title, showing off what he's capable of.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because, again, it puts everything in context. Like, we see the Kree and we're like, oh, at this point in time, the Kree are very proud of Ronan. Like, he is their war dog, pretty much. And, like, where they point, he goes, and they take care of business. Again, it's a war. This is wartime. But, yeah, I thought having that, like, villain association, I really don't know. Like, it made me think... It made me not so... Critical isn't the right word, but I wasn't looking at Jude Law's character as a villain, or even that crew.
Yeah, it seemed like, for me, Jude Law was more... he wasn't a zealot, like, I think... why did I just forget
Ronan?
Lee Pace's... Yeah, Ronan.
Yeah.
I remember Lee Pace, but I don't remember Ronan. He wasn't... I think Ronan is a zealot, but... I would say Jude Law's character is more of a casualty of that, where he's just kind of following orders.
Yeah, he's a soldier.
Yeah, he's a soldier.
He's a proud soldier.
He's a proud soldier. You're right. I thought Ronan's inclusion was fine, but they didn't utilize him enough, I feel.
They didn't know.
It reminded me of Darth Maul in Solo, because he kind of just shows up at the end and does absolutely nothing and then leaves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little different, but for me, I was like, okay, there's that villain from that movie we know.
It's like, we're part of a universe.
Yeah. We'll probably see him again unless they cancel all the extended movies. Oh, wait. They did. I think. I don't know.
But yeah, I liked, I guess, summing up that whole point of the Skrulls and the Kree.
Yeah.
I like that it was more of a gray area, and it was like, it's all a matter of perspective. And standing outside of it, you can see from Captain Marvel's perspective of like, there is a lot of needless violence happening,
Yes.
and I have the power to stop it through my power, pretty much, without actually killing people.
Yeah. And I will say, I know a lot of people were, or a few people were probably thinking that the next big thing in the Avengers will be like Skrulls taking over. I think you've talked about this. We've talked about this.
Right, yeah.
I think that's still a possibility. You could still have a bad group of Skrulls.
Yeah, because we've seen good Kree and we know Ronan, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And now we see our initial impression of the Skrulls are peaceful people. Now, or not peaceful, but like, that's what they want. They just want a home.
Yeah.
But there could easily be somebody who's just as pissed off as Ronan was, you know, split off.
Someone could have been left behind on Earth.
So, speaking of that, the whole shapeshifter thing.
Yeah.
Midway through the movie, before this whole twist happened, when it's like, oh, Skrulls are like the team players right now. I was expecting one of the post-credit scenes to be somebody we are familiar with transforming into a Skrull and being like, oh, no, Captain America was a Skrull the whole time.
Right.
Which I do not want to see. But
No, I don't want to see that either.
I was expecting that.
Yeah.
And I think they could do some interesting things with that down the line. But
that would piss a lot of people off, I feel.
For sure.
Yeah.
It would have to be like a side character.
That'd be the whole Hydra Cap thing from a few years ago. Remember that?
Yeah,
in
I
the
do.
comics.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, no, can't do that. But, I mean, we'll see.
So, yeah, Jude Law's character, I thought he was a good antagonist. Again, not necessarily a villain.
Yeah.
It felt good when she stood up to him and was like, just, like, screw you, dude. Like, yeah, I'm emotional, but, like, it's a strength. I really liked how she was just standing up to everybody's crap.
Oh, for sure.
It was very strong, especially after her sort of birth to being Captain Marvel, after the chip snapped in her head.
I think the best sequence in this movie, which like almost brought tears to my eyes, was every iteration of her character, like from the different ages she had that we've seen on screen. They all fell, and like one by one they all stood up, and then finally Captain Marvel stood up.
That was very powerful.
Oh, I love that.
That was chill. Like from that on, I think did that lead into the Gwen Stefani segment?
I think it was right. It was when she was talking to the Supreme Being.
The AI, right?
Yeah. Is it called the Supreme Being?
Supreme something. I don't know.
A little silly.
I mean, it got destroyed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Something.
Supreme Intelligence?
Supreme Intelligence.
Okay.
That's the one.
Yeah, that was fine.
Yeah.
It was a cool concept. It was like, oh, so their leader is just something.
Yeah.
It's a program. So that's kind of cool, but
cool concept.
Yeah. There was a lot of really nice imagery in this as far
so
as sort of idolizing her.
Yeah.
Which again, I felt like it was deserved. I felt like her growth and her the finale of this film, I really want to talk about that too. Because from the second she snaps out of it and we get the stand-up scene, from that to when she like slaps Jude Law out of the atmosphere and back off to Hala, my God.
Yeah.
The entire time I was just like grinning ear to ear. I was like, oh, Thanos is in trouble.
Yeah, that was insane. I know I watched Jeremy Johns' review, and he was like, I can't really see how she's the most powerful being in the MCU, or most powerful hero, but I don't know. I feel like I kind of disagree.
I heavily disagree.
Yeah, because he was like, well, his reasoning was like, well, Thor took like a dying star to the chest, and it's like, fair enough, but I don't know. I feel like we've never seen any MCU hero do the stuff that Captain Marvel did at the end of this movie. Like, she just straight up flew through ships.
One of the
unfazed.
Exactly. One of the things that stood out to me incredibly, and I don't know if this was intentional. I'm gonna say it was.
Okay.
Remember in the Avengers when the nuke is flying towards New York, and you see Tony, he grabs the nuke. He's struggling so hard to get that thing up into the wormhole.
Yeah.
He is fighting. Like, you see him struggling. He's like slips a few times. He's trying so hard. Similarly, Ronan launches some galactic missile strike on the planet.
Yeah.
She like flies up to the first one in the head of the pack, grabs it. There's a bit of resistance. Like, she's still like trying to like get her strength and like move against it. Turns it around, flies through all of them. I was like, from that second, like that, I thought of that scene from Avengers immediately.
Ah, that's a good comparison, definitely.
And I was like, oh yeah, this puts a lot of things into perspective.
Yes, I think so too.
I think also having Ronan there also put things in perspective, because I got similar vibes to the end of the first Guardians, not on the scale of the attack on Xandar with all the ships and everything, but also shout out, I liked that the ship design was very similar to Ronan's ship from Guardians.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I thought that was a cool nod. But yeah, having Ronan there, being familiar with Ronan and knowing how powerful he can be, I thought was helpful to establishing it, because we saw an entire team of Guardians, an entire team of Ravagers fight off Ronan and his goons, and we see her, admittedly smaller size of an assault from Ronan, but just stand up face to face with his ship, and he's like, you know what, we're gonna dip out.
Yeah. I have a question. Hopefully we can talk about this later if you'd prefer, but if we saw a sequel to this movie, would it be with Ronan, and would it be in between this movie and, like, I don't know, anywhere in between here and Endgame?
That I was thinking about that too. That's just interesting you brought that up, because I had a similar sort of question with myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see any numerous ways of approaching this. I would honestly like whatever they decide to do for a sequel, because one of how much I really like this cast and the sort of period piece vibe to it of the 90s, or even if they bleed into the early 2000s, because I think Captain Marvel takes place in 95.
Yes.
So maybe like 97, 99.
Ooh, some Third Eye Blind, perhaps?
Yeah, that'd be very cool. Or even early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think that would be an interesting period to explore again if we want to bring Ronan back, because there is a line he has. He's like, "Oh, we're coming back for the weapon."
Yeah.
And referring to Carol. So yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on how they establish Endgame, because if the beeper was not used until the snap, I don't know if she would have come back to Earth. So I feel like there is space to explore what she was doing from when she left with the Skrulls to when she shows up in Endgame.
Yep. There's definitely space.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would feel weird if they did a movie in that time frame. I'm sure they could do it. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it could be after Endgame, could be like in between now and Endgame. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So I think there's potential regardless of the time period.
Right.
I think there is things worth exploring in that section, and I do think there are things that make more sense of like, okay, caught up to speed on who she is. Let's see what she's at now.
Okay.
So
yeah,
I'd be happy with both.
Yeah, me too.
What is next? Is there anything you specifically want to talk about?
Yeah. Okay. So here's an issue I had, and it's not massive, but it's a little annoying, I thought. So from what I gathered watching the MCU, the first contact that anyone had had with aliens was Thor. And in this movie, Captain Marvel is the first contact that Nick Fury has with aliens. And I feel like that kind of messes with the canon of the MCU.
Okay.
It's not a huge gripe, but I don't know. I feel like that kind of bothered me a little bit.
Okay, let me tell you where I'm at with this.
Yeah.
This might be headcanon. I might be making a couple connections where there aren't any.
Okay.
But think of it this way. So this is how I took it.
Yes.
So Fury is just an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point, right? His boss gets taken over.
Yeah.
Did they ever show what actually happened to his boss?
No. That was off screen.
I think
they said he got tied up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still alive, but maybe I don't know, because the thing is, the fact that Fury knows that Danvers is out there and he has a way to contact her.
Yep.
Maybe that's enough security to the point where, since he is an underling at S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
And his boss is still kind of just like, hey, I just got like kidnapped pretty much. Like, he might not know, because I don't think they ever confirm that his boss knows that it's aliens.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Fury wants to keep that close to the chest or something.
It seems like, I feel like the only people that know is like Fury, the doctor that performs the autopsy, and Coulson.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe a few other.
The Greg Miller looking guy.
Oh, was it a Greg Miller looking guy?
Yeah, he was in Scott Pilgrim. I know him from other things. He's a comedian, I think.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so I mean, there's not too many. It's not like the world knew what happened.
Right.
Like in Thor, everyone knew the world knew what happened.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense to me, but I don't know, because Thor gave Nick Fury the perspective that there are other people out here, and we should be afraid of that. He says that. He says as much in Avengers.
Yeah, I knew what line you were talking about when you brought this up.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's fine. This movie isn't all that significant, I think, to the MCU. Like, it obviously sets up this really important character, and it's not like this huge movie for the MCU, but I don't know. That kind of bothered me. And the other, this is way small. Like, this doesn't even matter, but in Iron Man, they never said S.H.I.E.L.D. until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And they were like strategic, whatever, and they were like, you need to work on that. And then eventually they say S.H.I.E.L.D.
Call it S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
They just call it S.H.I.E.L.D. in this movie.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were going to show up and be like, with a strategic homeland intervention, whatever it is.
Yeah. Whatever. Like,
yeah, that's fine.
I mean, yeah, it does break canon, but who cares? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's dumb. It's stupid.
It's because, like, even at that, though, like, Coulson's such a nerd, where it's like, yeah, maybe he does just call it by the full name.
Oh, that's a fair point, yeah.
Like, again, that's headcanon, but
Yeah, that is headcanon, yeah.
I do think the stuff with Fury of like his character, which I also want to address another criticism I've seen. This is an issue my friend has with this. Not so much an issue where he just wants this to be addressed. Of why did it take the events of Infinity War for Fury to summon Danvers? Because from his perspective and from several other people I've seen online, you could have seen, or you could say that the Avengers Initiative failed in Civil War.
Yep.
You could have said that they were going to fail in Ultron. Even to some extent, the end of New York. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Where I stand on this, and because of Fury's character and because of how stubborn he is and how just like what we know Fury to be up until this point.
Yeah.
I feel like it is in his character to prove through his planning that there are other options and alternatives, where I think he didn't call Captain Marvel until he saw with his own eyes that they were like screwed.
Yeah.
Because he was literally fading away when he summoned her. Like, he
think
saw
that's what
Hill
did
do
it,
it.
yeah.
Like, he saw Hill go away and he's like, oh, this is a problem because like this might happen to me.
Yep.
It does.
I
That's
think
where I'm standing.
I agree with you on that. I that's fine with me. That is all well and good because obviously what happens in Infinity War is the worst possible thing that has happened in the MCU.
Oh, for sure.
And he realizes it in the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's inexplicable. Like he cannot explain what's going on. And I think that's why he calls it in. Even with the events of the other films that, things looked like they were going down, there was still a team of people.
True. Yeah.
And I think he really kept the faith in the Avengers.
I think so too, especially in Ultron when he's at Clint's farm.
Yeah.
And they're talking with everything and he's like, this was the plan. You guys are the plan in action.
Yeah.
Do the action, you know?
Yeah.
And like, even with Civil War, they split up, but there was still a team of people defending Earth, you know? And they were still a competent team. And Cap was still operating, you know, not officially, but he was still operating. He was still out there protecting people. So that's where I stand on it. I believe Fury would not have called until he absolutely needed to.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't bothered by it. It made sense,
Yeah.
I thought.
So that's where I stand on that.
Yeah.
Let's talk post-credit scene.
Let's do it.
The first one caught me way off guard. I
Yeah.
did not see that coming at all.
Beautiful Steve's face on screen. Hell yeah.
Yeah, hard cut to Chris Evans just looking sad. I was like, oh, we're going here.
Yep.
Okay. I liked that scene. It was enough of a tease, and we were talking about this after the fact. I feel like that's part of Endgame. I feel like they just cut that out and put that here.
I think so. A lot of people have been saying this, but it's like the Ant-Man end credit where it was?
That was, with Bucky from Civil War.
Civil War.
The arm thing.
Yeah, I think that'll be right in that movie.
Yeah, within the first 20 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, this is more Endgame talk. I'll do it real quick, but that will be.
It's related.
Yeah, that'll be like in the very beginning, and then we'll cut years later, or not years later, a time frame.
We'll get into the time stuff
in
after
later
that, yeah.
because Steve has his beard in the in this end credit scene, which obviously was immediately right after Infinity War. They're talking about all the death tolls in the world
because they're still counting. That's what they open with. I think it's the counter of like life lost.
I think Finland was on there or Norway, some Scandinavian country. They were just like looking through the numbers of the number of missing people. And they were like, "This is a nightmare." And I believe Scarlett Johansson was like, "Oh, I've had
better nightmares." Yeah, that was a good line. So it was Steve, Black Widow, Rhodey, and Banner.
Banner. Yep.
And they're talking about the beeper goes offline. In a very nice cut. I liked how it was edited. Of how it was like, "Oh, send it out again. Something's wrong. Like maybe they didn't get it." And immediately, where's Fury?
Yeah.
Hard cut. That was really good.
Oh my god.
That was a nice tease. I was ready. I was like, you know what? Roll the movie. I'm good. Just put it on.
Dude,
I really have to pee, but like, I'll sit through 3 hours of Avengers after this right now.
It's like a month, right?
It's very soon. We're close. We're very close.
Wait, isn't it May?
No, it's April 26th.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. We are very close, my friend.
A day before my father's birthday and a day before Greg Miller's birthday.
And a couple weeks after mine.
Hey, there you go.
What else do you want to talk about? The second post-credit scene?
Sure.
I thought it was a good gag. As far as the gag scenes go, it was good.
That's fine.
It was funny.
I've realized at this point the second post-credit scenes
Always
are
gonna be a
just
joke.
kind of funny. Yeah. So what's the deal with the Tesseract? Like, Howard Stark finds it,
right?
and he just gives it to Marvel.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like if she's
Just for
leading,
experimenting.
like a leading physicist or engineer, you know,
Okay.
and like they want to see, because Howard's a engineer,
Yeah.
you know, he's a scientist.
Mhm.
He's a scientist. Maybe he trusts her. Maybe he has a relationship with her to some extent where he's like, hey, I know you're trying to advance machinery and vehicles, because we saw him in Cap. He was working on the levitating cars and stuff
Right.
like that. And he was a pilot.
Yeah.
So maybe that's how it's connected. Maybe that's how she gets it.
Yeah, that's all well and good.
Yeah, because that's what, like 30, 40 years between.
Yeah. I was just curious, like, I mean, they don't really explain it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, it makes sense. They
Yeah.
just don't really explain it all that well, but that's fine.
Yeah, they didn't.
What'd you think about the old cat there?
I loved the cat.
Yeah, he's cool.
I loved the cat.
What did you think about Nick Fury losing his eye?
So, okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't get it at first.
No?
No, because the thing is, whenever we see Fury, he has the scratch, right?
Yep.
And then he has the eye thing.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, cool, that's how he got the scratch in his eye. I wasn't like, oh, that's how he lost his
Both,
eye.
yeah.
Because the thing is, I think the scratches on his eye are iconic.
Yeah.
You know, it's like part of his imagery.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's how he got the scratches. It never connected with me until later on, and they like asked how his eye was. I was like, oh, that's how he lost the eye.
And he said something in Winter
Soldier.
Soldier, where he was like, last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye.
Man, he trusted that cat. He was very cozy with it.
That puts some context on that line. Some people absolutely hate that.
I liked it.
I think it's fine. I don't
liked it.
care. Oh, that's not how, like, who cares? Who cares? It's an eye, dude.
It was a good bit.
Yeah, it was a good bit.
It was
And
used well. It made
He
me
was like,
laugh.
it's fine. They referenced, like, that joke earlier.
Mhm.
That was like a foreshadow.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to his eye before. Did someone punch him? Or?
No, when he crashed the car with the Coulson scroll.
Oh, yeah. And they were like, how's your eye? And he, like, left the ice packet off. It's like, that's how? And it's like, oh, no, that's not how he loses his eye.
Mm-hmm.
A cat scratches his eye.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I liked the cat, though. I thought the cat was funny.
Yeah, Goose is really cool. What was it? The alien race called?
A Flurkin?
Flurkin.
Flurkin.
So is it canon that all cats are like that? Or is it just that particular cat?
I think it's just Marvel's.
Okay. Oh, okay, that was Marvel's.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be like every cat. Like that was
Every
the joke.
cat.
I was like, oh, okay.
That'd be something.
Fair enough.
Bringing Catman.
Yeah, seriously.
Let's talk Stanley.
Sure.
The tribute in the beginning. I saw some people saying they were getting teared up at it.
Yeah, definitely.
Our theater was like chuckling at it. I was like,
Really?
this is what we're going for, okay?
Oh, I didn't notice people doing that.
The cameo hit me way more.
The cameo was great, and they really lingered on it. So.
I know, and I love that she gave him a smile.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
I wonder how do you think they reshot the smile?
Maybe.
Or, well, I guess they really didn't have to do that because like it was a more of a focus than I feel like any other Stan Lee cameo has got.
Yeah.
Obviously, because this is the first movie that's released since his passing.
There was a nice little chime in the
The
music.
chime was great.
Yeah.
The chime was great. I really like the intro too.
Mm.
I didn't notice people laughing. It's kind of messed up, but yeah, I think
People
it was
applauded
nice.
though. People clapped.
Yeah, I did too. That was very nice.
It was, yeah. But yeah, seeing him and like the smile got me.
Mm-hmm. When's
Ja-
the last Stan Lee cameo that we're gonna get?
Oh, you ready for your heart to be broken?
Is it Spider-Man?
It's Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yikes.
That's
That's gonna be a big one.
yeah.
That one might be one where I feel like they might reshoot it.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Like maybe like get his reaction and then get Spider-Man saying something about it
Mhm.
because that's gonna be the last one and the most impactful one.
Especially because it is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
yeah, that pretty much. Oh, I want to make a comparison.
Yeah.
Real quick. As far as future goes, because I know people have also expressed a concern with how powerful Captain Marvel is.
Yes.
And we did touch on this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And while I personally love the fact that they just have like a magic bullet now, I think there's an interesting and very entertaining way to portray a character such as this. And I'm going to draw a direct comparison to no one else but Goku from Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
So go with me on this.
Sure.
And I'm not just talking because like the hair gets all crazy.
Oh,
spiked up.
true. Yeah. Good point.
So Goku, the way they handle Goku in Dragon Ball Z is he is just this lovable doofus that is one of the strongest things ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's this like world famous fighter. If you're not familiar with Dragon Ball Z,
I'm not.
And then one day these aliens show up, and him and his crew of fighters, who are like super well renowned, have to show up against these aliens and like fight against them. They get their asses kicked, and Goku's like, "Oh man, I'm like hyped up. I'm in heaven now. I gotta train so I can go back on Earth and kick their butts." And that's pretty much how most of Dragon Ball goes. Like he just runs into people that are constantly stronger than him, and because he's such a good character and he's so lovable, you get hyped up to see him training to overcome the next step.
Okay.
So I feel like they could do a similar thing with Captain Marvel, where right now we see her like coming into her own at the end of the film, fighting off against Ronan and his ships. Come time for Endgame, where she is going to beat the living hell out of Thanos.
Yeah.
Who is very formidable. He destroyed the Hulk. He destroyed everybody. I feel like that's going to be a good like ground level point where I think they can do it in a way where she's not like dominant over Thanos, but she's holding her own. Maybe she like puts him in a chokehold and then Steve or someone gets the killing blow or something like that. So I think if we want to introduce more cosmic elements, more cosmic threats that Captain Marvel can still handle that are still big scale things, I think that's an easy way to appease people who are worried about how powerful she is.
Yeah. Here's my question. I was not very clear on her powers after she lost the chip in her neck. Is she basically just Superman? And like it's sort of can fly invulnerable?
I would say she's probably closer to maybe like Green Lantern, but without the aspect of having the ring.
I've heard that.
Be the source of the power.
That makes sense. So can she be killed?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't set up that she couldn't be killed, so I guess that makes sense that she could.
Yeah. She did struggle a little bit here and there.
Yes. She bleeds.
Yeah.
Blue.
Blue blood.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm just not very familiar with the character's backstory.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not either, but I was never like there was no point during the movie where I was like, oh, she's gonna walk away fine, even though I knew, you know.
Yeah.
Like there was no point where I was like, oh, she has this in the bag. I was still invested and I was still concerned at this for the stakes of everything.
Right. Yeah.
So. Yeah, I think I'm not too worried right now as far as her power level. I think it's going to be manageable, and that's just one avenue they could go. That's the one that stuck out to me.
Yeah.
But I feel like something like that is doable, especially if she's going to be an avenue into the cosmic stuff in the future.
And I think she will be.
100%. So, yeah, so we're wrapping up, right? One of the things I really liked was the ending, specifically on Earth with Fury. I loved so much. He's in his office. Coulson brings in the eyes. That's a good gag. The whole like, oh, where's the Tesseract? The cut to Goose. I liked that. We see Fury. He's planning up Phase 1, which I liked the nod to that.
Oh yeah.
He was like Defense Initiative Phase 1 or something.
Yeah.
And then Coulson dips out.
Was it the Protector Initiative? Was that
something like that?
Yeah.
It was something Initiative Phase 1, and then there was a bit of a write-up.
Yeah.
About like why we need heroes.
I tried to read it, but I couldn't read all the way through.
I liked Fury's dialogue there.
Yeah.
Of like we need more heroes. I thought it was a good little speech.
Yeah, definitely.
But he's looking for inspiration. He's like just chilling in his office. He looks at a case file for Carol. He sees Carol, the Avenger Danvers on the side of her jet. I loved this.
Yeah?
I loved it so much. Because not only does it set up Fury's whole motivation for doing the Avengers Initiative down the line, it sets up the way he treats everybody down the line and sort of like puts a nice little bow on the whole Captain Marvel experience and sets up the next 20 years of the Avengers.
Right.
I love it because it adds something to her character that ties her into the team so well because she was the inspiration for the team.
Right.
And I think that goes a long way. Not as far as some people actually may think, but I really do think that will go a long way in her fitting into the team when she comes in.
That part, for me, I don't know. I was kind of just in between. I was like, oh, that's fine. It makes sense. Like what you said, that you're kind of selling me on it.
How cool is that, dude?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. For me, at least, I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. It is one of those. It wasn't as bad as like a, what's your name, Han? What's your last name? I don't have one. Who's your people? Solo. It wasn't that. It wasn't like on the nose.
Yeah,
It was in that vein, but not as bad, I thought.
Yeah, I thought this spawned another thought in me. Like the end of Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
Oh, what's your real name? Robin. Oh, I like that. You should use it.
That's another example, yeah.
I don't think it was anywhere close to
Yeah,
something
I don't
like
think
that.
it was that bad.
I really liked it just because the end of this movie is so feel good, and then you get the moment, and then the Avengers music starts kicking in.
Yeah, that was a great nod.
It was a very good usage of that, and I thought it tied the entire thing up so well, and it made me very excited to see how she sort of reignites, reforms, and how the Avengers are reborn with her in it.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Because thinking about it now, the Avengers as we know it is probably like dead and buried dead. Like we're gonna have some sort of like,
You mean like Infinity War
like
timeline, yeah.
well, I mean, like even in Endgame, I don't think we'll get a moment of like similar to something that feels like the panning shot or
Right.
the circle shot from the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
But like that original team is kind of like
They're toast.
they're done.
Mm-hmm.
There will be, I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of coming to terms between Tony and Steve.
Yep.
There's going to be something that gives them like one last ride,
I think so.
something like that. But like the team as we know it, that Avengers one, that Ultron team, is gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a way to get it back. Like in the long run, maybe for a movie, maybe for like this world-ending event. But the new Avengers, if that's what they end up calling it, with Carol Danvers, the Avenger, leading it, I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, hearing that music always gets me.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And
I'm glad that's the one score that people can latch onto in the MCU, I feel.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually added the theme for Captain Marvel called Captain Marvel on my Spotify just so I can hear it enough. So that way, if they use it in Endgame, I'm like, oh, that's what it is.
Yes, definitely.
So, but yeah, good use of the music. I liked it. I liked that inclusion a lot.
Yeah, I thought so too.
So, is there anything standing out to you that we haven't touched on?
I feel like we really went through it all. I don't know if I can think of anything that we didn't.
Do you have a favorite moment? Oh, go for it.
I do. It's not my favorite moment, but I had my favorite moment was the stand-up scene.
Okay, yeah. That was really good.
Something that I thought was really cool, and we talked about this after, the scene with I think it was a prototype Quinjet. Was it not?
Yeah,
okay.
that's what it was.
They went down into some desert somewhere.
A trench.
Like, yeah, a trench, some would say. Similar to Top Gun, but mostly similar to Star Wars. And literally, if you close your eyes, the score overall is fine. Like, I don't know. Didn't blow me away. But in that moment, that was Star Wars to me. I closed my eyes. I'm like, I'm watching Star Wars.
Honestly, even with my eyes open, it reminded me of. Did you play Battlefront the reboot?
The first one.
The first one?
I did.
Do you remember the flight map where it was on? I think it was Tatooine, but it was like the canyon that you could fly through.
Yeah.
And that was like a training area.
Oh, like that. Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of. I was like, oh, this is that area.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, I liked.
Yeah. What was your favorite moment?
Obviously, I loved that Gwen Stefani choreography fight. I really liked seeing her and Fury work together before he called in his backup.
Yes.
That whole sequence was the most buddy cop of the movie, I would say.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah,
because
that was great.
I really like Brie Larson. I like Captain Marvel. I like Carol a lot. But I think where she shines the most is with her supporting cast, like I've said.
I think so too.
Also, another shout out to the Skrulls. I was very impressed.
I was too.
Like that twist, how much I cared about them, that was very surprising.
Did they remind you of, I don't know which film it was from particularly, but one of the Star Trek movies? They looked like they belonged in one of those movies. It might have been the first Star Trek, J.J. Abrams movie?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I could see it.
Yeah, that was just in my
Like,
head.
I could see where you come from with that. As far as designs for aliens go in the MCU, probably top.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Because like you got like Gamora and Nebula that are pretty much just humans. Maybe something related to the Eternals from a little research I've been doing.
Ooh, interesting. What's his race supposed to be?
Well, he's from Titan,
Oh.
but people from Titan don't look like that.
Oh.
He's like an abnormality.
Hmm.
So I'm really not sure,
Interesting.
but I'm very interested in that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think closing everything out, we had our favorite moments.
Yep.
We're going to get to ranking, but I am pleasantly surprised and very hopeful now about Captain Marvel's future and as of right now, post Captain America Iron Man centric film series moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that's what's going to happen, because again, I don't know spoilers for Endgame. Nobody does. If they say they do, they're lying.
Yeah.
But it's presumable that in the future, one of them, if not both, are going to be taking a backseat.
Quite likely.
Yeah. So I think we're in good hands. Her, Black Panther, Spider-Man, they've been making really good moves.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a very interesting team. Those three.
I'm very excited to see the cast of Avengers 5.
Yes.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
For sure.
So, do you want to run through your ranking?
Yes, I shall. So, are we already at 15? Oh boy.
We are at 15.
Okay. Number 15, The Incredible Hulk. Number 14, Thor: The Dark World. Number 13, Doctor Strange. Number 12, Thor. Number 11, Ant-Man. Number 10, Iron Man 2. Number 9, Iron Man. Number 8, Captain America: The First Avenger. Number 7, Iron Man 3. Struggled with this one here. Number 6, Avengers. Number 5, Captain Marvel. Number 4, Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 2, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. And number 1, Captain America: Civil War. I have Captain Marvel sandwiched in between the two Avengers films so far.
Nice. My list is going to be very fluid in the coming weeks.
Fair enough.
So last week I mentioned that I was thinking of shifting around a few things, like
Okay.
Iron Man. I did. So this is tentative
Okay.
because I'm happy with where Captain Marvel is right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I might try to keep it in that range based on what I know is coming. Like, things might hit me
Yeah.
differently because, like, maybe I don't enjoy Guardians 2 as much this time, and then it gets bumped out. But I think I'm going to try and keep Captain Marvel around where it is right now.
Okay.
Get, like, maybe a couple spaces.
Right.
Number 15 is The Incredible Hulk. Number 14 is Thor: The Dark World. Number 13 is Iron Man 2. Number 12 is Captain America: The First Avenger. Number 11 is The Avengers. Number 10 is Thor. Number 9 is Doctor Strange. Number 8 is Iron Man. Number 7 is Ant-Man. Number 6 is Iron Man 3. Number 5 is Civil War. Number 4 is Avengers: Age of Ultron. Number 3 is Captain Marvel. Number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy. And number 1 is Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Interesting.
Captain Marvel, I think, is one of the better origin stories.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with its placement because of how much I liked watching Ultron this time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, depending on how much I like Infinity War, that might shift things around a little bit as far as where the Avengers movies go in relation to Captain Marvel.
Right.
And yeah, I think at the very least, I think it hits maybe like number 6.
Yeah, it's up there for me right now,
Mhm.
but I think
I
lot
think it's
will
top
bop.
10.
Yeah, I think it probably is. I don't know. I'm trying to think what's coming forward. I guess it's top 10 for me right now. I mean, it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Coming forward.
In the future for me,
I don't know.
I know we're like predicting these before we've seen them at this point.
Yeah.
In the future for me, I see maybe, I want to say 3 other movies specifically that are definitely in the top 10.
Yeah, I have 3 I can think of. Nope, 4. I don't know. Actually, a lot of good stuff is coming forward.
It is. So I'm excited to see where the rest of this shakes out moving forward.
Yeah.
So if you would like to see where this goes in the future, if you enjoyed the episode, we are Excelsior JC on Twitter. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on YouTube, youtube.com/joyclicks. Look for Excelsior. You'll probably see it on the front page or on the playlist Excelsior. If you enjoy the show, be sure to like, subscribe, rate us on iTunes because that helps us insurmountably.
Yes, and sure does.
yeah, this is a good time. It's Marvel season now. That's
Ain't
what
that
I'm
right?
happy about.
Yeah.
We got Endgame coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of news in the next coming weeks, probably.
Yeah. You have a little funky. We have a little funky scheduling thing coming up.
We do. So next week, we are continuing the one movie a week review, going to Endgame. So next week's episode will be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Jack will not be on that. Pat will not be on that because of our university scheduling issues, spring break vacations. So my girlfriend will be on the show with me. We will be reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So look out for that one.
Very cool. Excited to be a listener to that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be a lot more positive, I think, with your girlfriend on the show. Because I know you guys love that.
Yeah,
movie.
both of us like it a lot.
I like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that movie.
Yeah. You're gonna have a couple thoughts the week after. We still need to get your ranking.
Sure.
And
yes.
Pat's.
Yes.
But are you admitting that you do not listen to the show?
Well, you got me. You got me
Moving
right-handed.
on. Why don't you plug your Twitter and socials and podcasts?
So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You got me red-handed on that location.
It's all good.
Twitter and Instagram at FascinatedJack. I have a video game news briefing every Monday. Not this Monday because it's spring break. I am in Washington, D.C. to flip off the White House. Not really. It's called the Polygonal Sunrise. You can find it on AmherstWire.com. You can also find it on the Amherst Wire feed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can also find it in its own feed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify by searching the Polygonal Sunrise. You can follow the show's Twitter at Polygonal Pod. Be sure to give it a rating and such. It's a good time.
Very nice. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chris and Buckley. JoyClicks, if you're on YouTube right now, we have many different assortments of content, including a video game podcast that my buddy Omar produces. But that's going to wrap it up for Captain Marvel. It feels good to have a new Marvel movie in the rotation.
Yes, it does.
I'm probably seeing this again before the next episode.
I might. I don't know if I have time, but I want to see this again. Definitely.
Yeah. I like when Marvel movies comes out because I always see it the night of, and then I'm like, oh, it's good. My buddy, you want to go see it?
Yeah.
I'll go with you. So.
Oh, there's always various groups of friends that you just need to take to it. Definitely.
Exactly.
I feel that.
So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. And as always.
What's a good Captain Marvel thing? Oh, I don't know. Kree.
Next week, why don't you come as you are?
Oh,
and,
oh my God.
Just make sure you've watched Guardians 2 recently.
Hey, it's International Women's Day.
Yeah, that's a cool.
And
cool
it makes sense that this came out. So just go be a girl and watch this film if you're a girl.
Women rock. The end.
Bye.